What's up guys? Today I'm bringing you a review of Trials of Mana. Now, this is the remake of Seiken Densetsu 3. This is a Mana game that didn't come out west back on the Super Nintendo. They've now brought it over as part of a package that you can get on modern platforms, but they also did this full 3D remake. Now this came out a little while ago, but it's on PS Plus now and pretty easily accessible. It's pretty cheap, $20 or so pretty regularly. And so I took a chance and played it and just wanted to kind of give my thoughts on it. So here's the thing, right? This game is a B-tier JRPG. I don't think that's a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with that. It's fun, it's decent, it's not amazing, it's not incredible or game of the year or anything, but it is a fun time. It's a fairly short JRPG, so it fills a certain kind of box, and I think it fits that niche just fine. I wouldn't say it's a must play, but I would say it's a good maybe palate cleanser in between bigger RPGs or big games that you want to play. Let's just kind of get into it. Trials of Mana has done this pretty beautiful 3D remake. I think look-wise, it's actually pretty decent. I mean, it's got pretty good animations, especially for the budget. You can tell that it's on a budget, and I feel like the animations are pretty good. They're not awesome, but they're not bad. They work. I would say the color palette is good, right? It's very vibrant, it's very colorful, and all the biomes are very different and all of that. And so they did a good job of doing that. Music was good. I mean, this is Mana games have always had pretty good music, and I think that this falls right in that. Especially some of the battle or boss music was actually really great. The camera work sometimes was a little rough. Every time you got to like a new area, a new city, it would like pan camera over it, and I think that's cool in certain instances, but to do it every time in a game where, you know, there's not like there's a huge budget going into these, you know, towns and vistas and stuff, and it was a little bit overindulgent in my opinion. But some of the mechanics of this game, right? Let's kind of dig into that. I'm going to tell you right now, do yourself a favor and switch to the Japanese VL. Not because the English voice actors are like super terrible or something, but it is ridiculously slow. You guys who've been around, you know I like things to be quick, but even outside of my personal preferences of having things go faster, it is painfully slow.
Now you remember what will happen to dear Jessica if I die.
Not to mention Charlotte,
resident beauty of Wendell.
Oh, the voice is so rough, and I don't think the voice actor did anything wrong. I think that's exactly what they wanted, but it's awful. It's so grating on the ears. Terrible. There's a few other little things though. I would recommend you change the dash option right away, because you have to like hold it and it doesn't work well where there's like you can change it to like a constant, so if you're running and then you have to stop for a second and you start moving again, it'll automatically be running. That's a huge game changer, made the game much better in my opinion. The other thing is it starts out with circle as attack instead of square, because that's how it is in Japan, right? Circle is like the enter button instead of X. So having that for like attack makes sense for them, but for us, you know, if you're used to more normal action games over here, you probably want to switch those two buttons. You can, and it totally lets you do that, so that's great on the game, right? That's a good thing, they allow you to do that, but I definitely would recommend switching that if you're used to more Western controls. Yeah, but otherwise, I mean, mechanically it worked fine. There was some funny things you do. I found there's some times where you're supposed to go around the level, and then you, on the way back down, you can kind of take these shortcuts that like jumping off ledges, and some of them you can kind of glitch into a corner and make your way up. So, you know, if that's something you're interested in, you can't do it on all of them. Once I found it, I tried it on all of them, and some of them I couldn't get it to work, but in a lot of them I could. So, you know, that's just something to note. That definitely kind of made it go a little faster. Yeah, so that's kind of the mechanics of the game and how it worked. As far as the story goes, right, you have a basic kind of mana story. I mean, something is stealing the mana, you need to get the mana sword. This like fairy comes and, you know, picks you, and then you kind of go on a journey that morphs from whatever the personal story is into kind of this bigger story about the mana tree and the mana goddess and all this kind of stuff. Fairly standard, nothing super new, but it was okay. It wasn't bad. You get to pick your characters in the beginning, right? So there's 6 total, and you get to pick your main and then 2 like extra characters. Essentially, you go through all of their stories. It's your choice whether to go through their original story or not. Like you have like the first act, that's kind of like the introduction to that character. Once you meet the next characters, you can kind of go back and play those stories. There's, other than getting the story, there's not a lot of point to it. You can't keep anything from it. So that's just something to know. And so you can replay it, and it'll change slightly depending on who you pick as your main and who you pick on your extras, of course. They interact pretty well, though. I thought that was good. They had, you know, connections and times where they would talk about how their stories connected or whatever. And so clearly they managed that pretty well, I thought. But when you have all those characters with their kind of the main character, but depending on who you pick, and then who is with them will also interact with their story and how their stories connect and combine and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was good. It wasn't, you know, blow you away good, but it was good. It was nice to have it there. It felt like when I played, so I picked Duran, which is like the kind of main sword user. I don't even remember their names. The Angela, which is like the magic, you know, lady, and then like a Valkyrie lady who I can't remember her name. And they all kind of interacted. It felt like they were supposed to be the main cast of the story. And there's 3 whole characters that I didn't use. And what was cool is you did kind of see those characters throughout the story, so clearly they are a part of it. They just weren't a part of your party, which was cool. So I liked all of that. The way it turns the main character's kind of mission into the main narrative, I thought was pretty well done. Again, it's not like gonna win a writing award or something, but it was good enough. It was enjoyable. It made sense what was happening. It had some funny moments, some really cringe moments too, which I think is somewhat normal for kind of this JRPG style. But yeah, it was pretty good. Pretty good, I think, is kind of the theme of this game. It wasn't amazing, it wasn't great, but it's not awful. And that's just kind of how everything worked. Except for Charlotte. Charlotte's the worst. Kind of how it works. So it's action combat, and once you kind of start an encounter, you get essentially like a ring around your characters where you can't go outside of it, right? And if you push against it, then eventually you'll run away from that. Action combat is fairly simple combos. You know, it's attack, 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 heavy attack, or attack, 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 special, or whatever. It doesn't change from that too much. You get essentially a few different combos as far as like, you know, a regular attack, a heavy attack, regular, heavy, regular, heavy, and then once you upgrade your, you know, class or weapon or whatever, then you get like an extra one, right? You get specials, you get moves. As you upgrade and level up, you will unlock new, sometimes moves, sometimes magic, whatever, and as you unlock stuff, then that gives more options. Magic is, and they call them moves, are different than your special abilities. So you will get 3 kind of like class abilities, and then you will have your attacks, and then you get like your moves that come as you level up. The move list is separate. There's not like a special button, you have to kind of go into your menu and pick it. I didn't love that, but I understood why they did that, and it fits, you know, kind of fits in with older mana games, like that's how you did that, but still kind of a bummer. I felt like it would have felt more natural if there was like a hotkey or something like that. But overall, I thought it was fun. The combat was pretty quick, which was nice. You felt like you were moving. Sometimes the aim of your character would drive you nuts. You'd go into a move sequence, and as you hit the enemy, it would bounce off to the side, and your character would just kind of keep going straight. And you're like, Okay, that's dumb. But magic is super powerful in this game. So if you have, I think Angela's the magic user. If you have her, you can kind of just front load everything, especially if you can do the thing where you learn their weakness or whatever, then you just powerhouse it through that. Anytime I started having trouble on a boss or something, I would switch, you get its weakness, you switch to her, you run away and just blast it with magic. Never had a problem with items. I always had a ton of them. Never had a problem with money. I was always able to get enough of that. It's really interesting. As far as combat goes, it's like easy, and then it hits a spike and it gets all of a sudden way harder, and you're like, whoa, what happened? And then you kind of get used to that and get your upgraded stuff, and then it's mostly pretty easy the rest of the time. There's a few bosses that gave me some trouble. More often, it'd be like a ton of enemies on a thing, and that, have special things you had to do to break their shield or whatever that would give me any kind of trouble. Nothing too hard though, and you can play it on easy if that worries you at all. So no big deal. The class system is pretty cool, but I wanted more out of it. So basically you have your standard class you start with, then you upgrade one at a certain level and you get to pick one of two. Then the next one you upgrade takes a while, and by the time you get there, you also have to have like an item to use, and that item decides which one you can pick. So if you want the other one, you got to farm to get that item, which is kind of a bummer. But either way, so then you do that. There is a master class that you can get if you want to kind of push the game all the way. If you're not interested though, you're not going to get that in just a regular playthrough. But I did enjoy the class change. I liked that it changed their armor and that you could then pick from the look of all the choices you've made. That was kind of a neat little thing. But yeah, so I enjoyed the class change. I wish there was more to it, like maybe more options or more things that it affected or something. But overall, it was fine. It was cool, and I enjoyed a little change, getting you a new ability, changing up how you look, that kind of thing. There was a day-night cycle that would change periodically, and you get to a point where you can kind of manage it a little bit. 90% of the game is completely useless. There's like 1 or 2 missions I can think of where it makes a difference, but so much of the game it does absolutely nothing, which was a bummer. So I kept messing with it and would change it and try to see things and fight enemies and see if there's different, and it was like nothing was different. So if you have experience in that and you found a bunch of different things, let me know. But I didn't find anything. It was like one mission that made a huge difference. If it's the right time of day, day or night, then the mission's easy, and if it's not, it's really hard. But other than that, I mean, not much at all. Not much at all. So this, like I said before, this is a shorter RPG. It took me about 17 hours. Yours, of course, might vary a little bit depending on how quickly you run through things. 20 hours, I think, is pretty average on this. And if you want to go, you can go end game, and then it's also meant to be played again, right? Because you can play through with the other 3 characters you didn't use or whatever. As I said already, kind of the overarching theme of this game is that it's pretty good. It's not great. It's not bad, but it's pretty good. I enjoyed my time with it. When I finished, I was done. I didn't want to do another playthrough. I didn't want to go through the other characters. I was good. I was happy I played it, but I was done. I didn't want to do anymore. I think, depending on how much you enjoy the combat or the story or the kind of cheeky jokes, might change that for you. But for me, the 15 to 20 hours is right. And then that's all I want. Yeah, so all that to say, this game I think is worth time, especially as part of a subscription like PS Plus. $20 I think is about right for it. I would not have wanted to pay a full $40 to $60 for this game. I'd have felt kind of cheapened out for that. But $20 and under, or on a subscription, I think is about right for this. It's enjoyable. If you want to get it physically, having it as part of your collection is cool. I'm glad they brought it west. I don't think it's going to make very many people's, game of the year kind of thing, or be your favorite JRPG ever. I just don't think that's going to happen. But good experience to have. So, yeah, you know what? That pretty much wraps it up for me. There's just not a lot more to say on this game. We could dig more into the story and the mechanics, but there's just not really a need to. It all works, it's all functional, it's not special or unique or amazing. It's good enough. So, if this is a game you haven't played yet and you have time, absolutely jump on it. It's a good palate cleanser between your big behemoth RPGs or whatever else you might be playing. But I wouldn't put this at the top of the pile. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you hit the like button. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button right there. Hit it. Thanks for watching.